Green Bee Life. You can watch GBL TV.
And going up.
You can learn on Know and Go.
Did you know THC and CBD are just 2 of more than 100 cannabinoids?
And you can shop for carefully curated, high-quality products for a conscious lifestyle. We cover everything from pets to wellness, compliance, social equity, culinary arts, sustainability, and much, much more.
We really want to make this platform watch,
learn, and shop.
so that your first time you have a place in the safety of your own home or watching on your phone where you can feel a little prepared and learn and then shop.
Green Bee Life, changing the way the world sees green.
What we've seen take place in the last 2 years has been the most rapid transformation of any industry I've ever seen.
If you consider a plant that has 3 potential harvestable components, there aren't too many other crops that can serve that role.
By 2020, Bank of America and Merrill Lynch estimate that will grow to $35 billion. And many experts believe it could eventually reach $200 billion each and every year.
I'm a butterfly who has only begun, taking me a while to get it. Had to live and cry to appreciate life, and what you give is worth it. When you're holding me, when you hold me so close, I want further in under your skin. Wanna leave a mark so that I can be sure.
Hello, Empire, and welcome to the first episode ever of Just Say No. KNOW on KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM on your dial. I'm your host, Maria Calabrese. Are you ready? Because today we're starting a new kind of cannabis conversation. Unique, exclusive, and centered entirely on you. Get ready for honest insights and balanced perspectives you're not going to find anywhere else. Whether you're skeptical, curious, or already a believer, everyone is welcome here. Together, we're going to cut through the hype, break through the noise, and empower you with the knowledge to make informed choices about cannabis that work to enhance your life. A people network with cannabis, not another cannabis network with people. You know, it's no doubt we're living in exhilarating times. Cannabis is on the brink of federal legalization, and plant-based remedies, they're becoming medicine cabinet essentials, guys. Every day brings exciting developments up and down the supply chain. And I'm truly looking forward to sharing this journey with you as cannabis is set to impact countless aspects of our lives, much more than the promise of a high. All right, so let's talk. As consumer demand and the cannabis industry continue to grow, businesses are left navigating a legal gray area in the absence of a sensible federal regulatory framework. The fragmented approach to legalization has resulted in inconsistent state restrictions, leaving consumers vulnerable to misleading claims about emerging products. This only widens the enormous information gap that has persisted from decades of prohibition and propaganda.
You must stand united on this and stamp out this frightful assassin of our youth. You can do it by bringing about compulsory education on the subject of narcotics in general, but red marijuana in particular.
If you want a good smoke, try one of these.
You know, without a cohesive federal regulatory framework, businesses trying to operate legally in a federally illegal space, they're challenged. They're faced by overly tight or unreasonable restrictions, while those skirting the law exploit the loopholes. They cut the corners and often deliver inferior products, sometimes even unsafe. What's legal to market in one state might be entirely off limits in your state. This uncertainty doesn't, though, just affect in businesses. It profoundly impacts you, the consumer, who relies on trustworthy information and make informed choices about new products that promise to improve our lives. You know, I created this show to tackle one of the most critical issues in the cannabis industry: consumer knowledge. In a landscape full of legal ambiguity, brands are struggling to build trust in an unregulated market, and that's where we step in. We're going to lift each other up, guys, and figure this out once and for all. But that's not the only reason I started this show. It's personal for me. I'm going to share my origin story and the moment I decided to confront my fears and just say no with a K, N-O, and a W about this multifaceted plant. Like many of you, I was raised to fear cannabis. As a recovering Catholic and a child of DARE, for those of you too young to remember DARE, it was a misguided and failed drug abuse prevention program from the 80s that mislabeled marijuana a gateway drug. You know, cannabis might as well have been what Reefer Madness dubbed the devil's weed. This perception, it shaped my understanding of cannabis, and not just mine, an entire generation's, for years, decades even. You know, let's talk about it. I don't mean to be cheeky. I couldn't help it. Despite having had a really catastrophic car accident after my first year of law school, followed by decades of chronic pain, prescription drugs, multiple spinal surgeries, hardware, you name it, which all eventually became unmanageable, cannabis was not even on the table for me. Stay tuned, because when we come back, I'm going to share with you what finally changed my perspective and opened my eyes and heart to this powerful plant.
In 2018, VetCBD helped pass Assembly Bill AB 2215, allowing veterinarians to discuss cannabinoid therapy with clients. This legislation enabled informed decision-making in pet healthcare, giving pet owners alternative treatment options with professional guidance. But the story doesn't end there. In 2022, VetCBD continued its advocacy efforts and helped pass Assembly Bill AB 1885, allowing veterinarians to take the next step and recommend cannabinoid therapeutics when they deem it appropriate for their patients' health. These legislative wins showcase VetCBD's dedication to advancing pet health and ensuring access to safe, effective treatments. Stay informed, stay engaged, and together with VetCBD, let's continue to advocate for the best possible care for our beloved pets.
Welcome back to Just Say No, KNOW, on KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM in the Inland Empire. All right, guys, you ready for the reveal? It wasn't until my canine companion and love of my life, sorry, honey, Juanita, my four-legged friend, was at the end stages of her life. Western medicine just didn't have anything left to offer. That's when everything changed for me. At that moment, I decided to confront my fear and educate myself. First, someone recommended I give her cow heart. Now, I'm a PETA card-carrying animal lover. And that was a real big step. This is, I digress, but I'm just going to tell you, she had impacted me to open my mind in two ways. So I'm going to draw, I want to explain just the lengths I would go for this little rescue pup. So we did the cow heart. She started getting better. And I turned into a crazy woman. Bring me every cow in the land. But at a certain point, she needed more. So I got past the cow heart and I decided, gosh, marijuana. So I needed to figure this out. Unfortunately, the information I encountered often led to more confusion rather than clarity. At that time, I remember I wished that there was a reliable, unbiased source of educational content about cannabis. Instead, I was met with conflicting information, misguided bud tenders, incentivized and unregulated brand loyalists, and recreational users that fit my preconceived stereotype of potheads, all of which caused me even more anxiety. Can you relate? I ran into a neighbor the other day with her 14-year-old gorgeous golden retriever. Oh, my fur baby Cuba. Hello out there. Shout out to Cuba. But Cuba had some arthritic issues, and I just asked, have you tried CBD? She looked so remorseful, like guilty. She said, I know. I don't know why I haven't. I've been putting it off. I said, please, it makes total sense why you haven't. And of course you're putting it off. I went through the same situation. At that time, I was seeking unbiased, credible resources. And this information gap that I noticed was just so big. Ultimately, I said I need to take action. And that's when I decided to create Green Bee Life, a knowledge-first, consumer-led platform dedicated to sharing reliable information about emerging plant-based solutions. Let's have a listen to my founding message.
Hi, I'm Maria Calabrese, founder of Green Bee Life. I am on a mission to sharing my vision with you to engage with all our viewers as we continue to uncover the mysteries of cannabis then and now. I'm so eager to profile incredible stories from all walks of life as we learn about those who integrate cannabis into their lifestyle. You know, the impact of cannabis in our modern world, it touches upon so many important things beyond the promise of a high. Medicine, therapy, cooking, pop culture, and even to the many benefits and applications of hemp material itself. You know, what I hope for in anticipation to an end of prohibition is the formation of sensible rules and regulations. It's our goal at Green Bee Life to become a leader in representing the cannabis lifestyle and emerging products through education and entertainment. The modern face of cannabis is changing, and it is our mission to add value to this movement. From details of topical issues surrounding legal and scientific news to original programming and discovering the most innovative brands. We are at the historic beginning for the resurgence of legal marijuana consumption. Medically and recreationally, it's here. It's happening. And, you know, as a newbie to cannabis, there's so much information to learn, from skeptic to curious. Here's where I suggest everyone begin. Look into the endocannabinoid system and look into the 1937 Marijuana Tax Act. Look up a guy by the name of Harry Anslinger. And it is so important, despite the stigmas and misinformations from the past, to know the issues so that you can know how they impact you and then make decisions based on your value system, not based on misinformation. Hey, we're on it, and we want to hear from you too, because the green closet is open.
Stay tuned. Up next, I'm going to share some of my favorite tips that I've learned along the way for vetting cannabis products and how they've helped others. Plus, every week, we're going to have a special 4:20 p.m. in the Inland Empire segment.
At Green Bee Life, you can watch GBL TV.
And going up.
You can learn on Know and Go.
Did you know THC and CBD are just 2 of more than 100 cannabinoids?
And you can shop for carefully curated, high-quality products for a conscious lifestyle. We cover everything from pets to wellness, compliance, social equity, culinary arts, sustainability, and much, much more.
We really want to make this platform watch,
Learn, and shop.
so that your first time you have a place in the safety of your own home or watching on your phone where you can feel a little prepared and learn and then shop.
Green Bee Life, changing the way the world sees green.
Welcome back to Just Say No, KNOW, on KCAA Radio, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, in the Inland Empire. It's 4:20, and while in California, we don't need to use secret code anymore. Each show at 4:20, we're going to have a very special segment. And today's, we're going to take a look back at Cannabis Confessions and how folks like you and me came out of the green closet. So for our maiden voyage in our first show, my producers thought, why don't I start with my cannabis confession and talk about how I came out of the green closet? All right, I'm happy, I'm game. I'll share that with you. So I've already told you about my struggles with my back and with my fur baby. So let's just roll back. My story with Juanita begins before Prop 64 went on the ballot in 2016 in California. So at that point, cannabis was only medically legal. That meant I had to get a medical marijuana card. CalHart medical marijuana card. Well, I succumbed to both, as you know, but I had to get a medical marijuana card. And this is a real medicine plan. It shouldn't be marginalized. But the only game in town were the girls in the bikinis on Venice Beach who bring you back and you meet this doctor with the funky ATM machine. And I did. So this is my cannabis confession. I didn't lie. I didn't say that I was making something up to get medical marijuana for my dog. I had a lot of anxiety about her coming to her end stages, but the doctor was very flattering. I told you this is a medicine plant. It shouldn't be marginalized. I don't know how qualified he was because he just looked at me and he said, menstrual cramps? And I got to tell you, I had a smile this big because at my age, for him to think that I had not gone through menopause yet, I'd like to delude myself and believe he thought that. I think he was giving every female a prescription for that. And I go, yeah, sure. So I got my card. But then I had to get over the stigma of going into a dispensary. Now, let me tell you, that was scary. I mean, it still is in some instances where you have, first of all, a whole other episode will be about the banking and the insurance situation. Pretty crazy, the banking situation, and that these dispensaries are limited to dealing with cash in many cases, definitely back then. So you have the armed guard at the door. You have, the gated door. You go get buzzed in. You can't go back where they sell it. You have to only a few people at a time. You have to be in this waiting room. The skunk smell. Oh my God. And then they buzz you in. And where do you begin? What do you do? How do you? I felt so intimidated because I don't like not knowing something about a topic, but I really was at the bud tender's mercy, even though I had a pretty good checklist from experts I had tracked down, which we're going to meet because I'm going to bring them on every week to this show, and who were kind enough to give me the knowledge they had to the best of their ability at the time. But I still really, what's an eighth, ratios, CBD to THC, isolate, broad spectrum, full spectrum. It was a little intimidating. And again, whoosh, the skunk smell. So, can I tell you the bud tenders could not have been lovelier? Can I tell you everyone in there could not have been more supportive and sharing their stories and sharing anecdotally what worked for their pets? Hey, this was the antithesis of being in line at a commercial, I don't want to say a name, but a CVS. It was the complete antithesis. It was such a nurturing environment, and it's a place where people are taking control for their medical conditions and have to rely on one another to lift each other up because the information is few and far between. So people shared for me what helped with their dogs. I already had a pretty good idea in mind, but still, it's virgin territory, at least for me. So that's my cannabis confession. I got my medical marijuana card. I got medical marijuana for my dog. And now I take it.
Did you know THC and CBD are just 2 of more than 100 cannabinoids?
At Green Bee Life, you can watch GBL TV with an evolving slate of original programming.
And going up.
From a diverse group of on-air personalities.
I want my GBL TV.
Where we cover everything from pets to wellness, compliance, social equity, culinary arts, sustainability, and much, much more. You can learn from articles on our journal. And you can shop on Know and Go for carefully curated, high-quality products for a conscious lifestyle. Watch, learn, shop.
Green Bee Life, changing the way the world sees green.
Okay, we're back. And it's a perfect segue into consumer tips and insights because I'd like to share a little bit about what I've learned from experts along the way on how to vet cannabis products. Just some practical advice on how to pick a high quality product. So one of the most common questions, and the one that I had in the beginning, was how can I trust the safety and the quality of cannabis products when regulations, right, vary so much between states and federally it's unregulated? I like this question. This is where we start. One way to ensure product safety is to look for third-party lab testing. Guys, it's often called a COA, Certificate of Analysis. You want to look for this because any reputable brand is going to have these readily available, whether it's a QR code on their website, on their packaging. And then when you look at the COA, you want to make sure it has a list of the specific cannabinoids in the product, terpenes, and any contaminants that it was tested for. Stick with products that are USDA certified organic. They have to adhere to very strict safety standards. Wait a minute. USDA certified organic? US? Isn't it federally illegal? Stay tuned. I can't wait. We have so many wonderful episodes coming. That has to do with the hemp farm bill. And I don't want to confuse anybody. This is to break through the confusion and clarify things. But that's a real confusing bill. So, yes, Due to the Hemp Farm Bill, hemp growers and manufacturers in the U.S. can get a USDA certified organic standard, and you want to make sure they have that standard. Also, research the brand's reputation and be cautious of products making wild health claims without any evidence to support it. So my next tip for vetting cannabis products is, trying to get down to the bottom of the potential benefits it offers compared to traditional pharmaceuticals for calming conditions like pain, anxiety, and sleep disorders. This taps into a real growing curiosity about cannabis compared to pharmaceuticals. I'm thrilled to introduce Dr. Manesh Gurn. Manesh is a neuroscientist who's earned his PhD from McGill University. So, Manesh, we have a segment called Consumer Insights and Tips. And I'd love to, if you could share some practical insights, tips for safe and responsible use.
There's definitely a place for these standard pharmaceuticals. Standard antidepressants help many people cope and live lives that they wouldn't be able to live otherwise. But as you said, they come with side effects. They come with a trade-off. And so one of the most commonly prescribed class of drugs are SSRIs, so selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Things like Lexapro or Prozac. And people may have heard of either of those two commonly prescribed drugs. And those are both antidepressants, and they basically change your brain chemistry to help you feel a bit better. But it comes at the cost of lessening your capacity for positive emotions as well. They kind of dull you emotionally. They can lead to weight gain. They kill people's sex drive and can lead to fatigue and all sorts of things. And so the trade-off is you're less depressed, but you're less anything else, right? It's a dulling out. And you're expected to take it every single day indefinitely, otherwise you're going to get worse again. And so cannabis, as you were saying earlier, has a whole variety of different compounds within it. It's not just THC, which is what we usually associate it with because that's what gives the typical high we associate with cannabis, right? So THC is the compound, that makes people high. It makes people stoned. That's what people associate with cannabis. And this has the typical effects. And it's often, obviously, and many people know this, used to relieve anxiety. In lower doses, particularly, it can really calm people's anxiety and also help with things like chronic pain. But then also CBD is also potently reduces anxiety and has been found in studies to do that. Studies have also found that it could be antidepressant. And not only that, it's also anti-inflammatory. So people, even with arthritis and different inflammatory conditions, are experiencing relief from CBD. Not to mention also its effects for reducing epileptic seizures. So reducing seizures for people with epilepsy. And it's actually FDA approved for that. It is a compound CBD-based drug that does that. And so CBD has no psychological effects acutely, like it doesn't make you high, but behind the scenes of our biology through our endocannabinoid system, which I could talk about, is actually has all these different health benefits. And then the last one is CBG, which is a kind of simpler molecule than CBD or THC, and actually is, can be considered a precursor of them. It's can turn into them with different steps. And that's also very much involved in reducing inflammation. It modulates our immune system, and it also relieves oxidative stress, meaning it's an antioxidant, which again, it means it clears up cellular damage. It's healthy for our cells as well throughout our bodies. And so there's no reason why it should be outlawed the way it should be. This doesn't make any scientific sense.
So my last tip for today's Consumer Insights and Tips on how to vet and assess and find quality products is you've got to avoid falling for misleading marketing claims. This is just, guys, we can do it. We can lift each other up, but it's important to know. You need to know how to spot red flags. Look out for products that promise miracle cures or quick fixes. These are usually big red flags. You want to stick to brands that are transparent about their sourcing, their extracting methods, and testing. Read consumer reviews. I told you about anecdotal evidence, and people who are taking the time to write a review, it's because they've been impacted either very positively or very negatively, and they want to share that information, and we need to share the information. Again, we need to lift each other up. But the best tool is do your own research on the ingredients and the certifications of the brand. There are good manufacturing practices seals. There are all types of standards. At Green Bee Life, the platform I started, we have a very, very strict vetting system for any brands that we list in our directory or feature or spotlight. So find people who are committed to putting forward and supporting worthy brands that support organizations like the National Cannabis Industry Association. I sit on the marketing and advertising committee with some of the most amazing subject matter experts. Let me introduce you to one. Emily Kelleher, who is the vice president of Benalieve's marketing. She is also the marketing chair for the Ohio Cannabis Coalition. I want to throw it to you, Emily.
Sure. I think the one thing that you just touched on, consumer trust, right? And I think that's something that just especially in the cannabis industry as a whole, we all take pride in. Triple tested, we use, UV, CR certs, making sure that we're not using naming conventions that are attractive to children. And I think that's one of the things as an industry that we can hang our hat on as a differentiator. I think what's important to note here as well is at Benalieve's, we work with a lot of different companies that are just out of state. And so we do a lot of co-packing and white labeling here in Ohio. And what has been fascinating when it comes to just different regulatory compliance from state to state is that it's so inconsistent in a lot of ways where, to Helen and Chad's point as well, some of this packaging could easily be approved in another state, such as making a claim, this product will make you sleepy. This product could make you feel awake. We're in Ohio, we're totally handicapped from being able to use any of those types of phrasing. And so it does prevent a little bit of an educational gap between us and the consumer because we can't fully express the product's potential and potential effects on the consumer. And so I think that then falls back on us as licensees, as educators ourselves, to go out into the public to, teach people about cannabinoids and terpene profiles, right? And it's not just the high THC percentage products. There's so much more that go into this plant. And so I'm hoping that eventually someday we'll be able to use just a little bit more words and just descriptive language to at least try to explain what certain products can do. And of course, that's going to take more normalization of the medical cannabis community itself and just of the plant medicine itself, which is so important, especially in Ohio, we're seeing this rise of adult use. But it's so incredibly important that we also lift up the medical cannabis program in the same weight, right? The same level to give that, the plant medicine, the normalization that it needs, that we can eventually move into these double-blinded placebo studies and this actual medical research that we can gain to be able to make these claims, right? So to speak, and say, we actually do know that if you take this dose, it'll help with inflammation, it'll help with sleep, it'll help with nausea, versus now, a lot of what we say, and we do work with a lot of different medical professionals here, but, they're what they say and retort is like, oh, it's anecdotal, right? We don't have the science and the data to back this up. But that's why I personally, it's a passion thing for me, to really hold up the medical part of this program and the medicinal benefits of the plant. And I think that's something that we, especially at Benalieve's, tried to do with our educational efforts.
We can figure it out. You just have to use common sense. So we've talked about the information gap. We've talked about cannabis confessions, talked about how I came out of the green closet, and we've talked about some consumer insights and tips for vetting and picking out quality products. But now I'd like to share with you some real life stories from real life people who, I'll leave it to you to decide whether they're the stereotypical pothead, which there's nothing wrong if you're out there and you're a pothead. Recreational, there's a time and place. But I'd like to just share some real life people who have some real life stories.
So when I first started having real breakthroughs with cannabis, my goal was to get out into nature, smoke, and then hike. And then as I was hiking, I would start to analyze everything that was going on in my life and maybe replay conversations I'd had or arguments I'd had with people. And I would start to have these understandings inside myself that would not just help to heal me, but help to move me forward, I guess, because I think I've been stuck for the majority of my life. And I was a very depressed person. Growing up, I was insanely socially awkward, to the point where I would sit in classrooms and I was failing classes because I was so uncomfortable just being around other people, even though I knew what I was doing. And so getting into cannabis, getting into nature, and using cannabis to connect me to all these other avenues has really changed my life significantly. I mean, I feel like I'm on an entirely different trajectory than I ever would have been had cannabis not come into my life. And not just that, I have lupus, and so I get sick all the time. And when I get sick, I'm knocked down for months at a time. Since using cannabis, it's opened me up to other plants. I am obsessed with cooking. I love using a million different herbs, and I learn about those herbs and how they can help me. And you know, I have cannabis to thank for that. And also, since I've started consuming, I've been getting sick less. And it makes sense when you think about it, because our bodies have the cannabinoid system within them. And so I like to think of it in the same way as I think of probiotics. I don't know like how much people know about probiotics, but I use probiotics because we have natural bacteria in our body. And when that natural bacteria gets depleted, then we get sick. So probiotics, here, bacteria, back into your body, good bacteria, good flora, you know, let's balancing our bodies through putting back in like what we're lacking. And cannabinoids are the same way. You know, when our body starts to get depleted, then we need to supplement it with these plant cannabinoids. So we're putting it back into our body, we're balancing our body to the point where suddenly our bodies are able to function the way they're meant to function. And so that's why I'm getting sick less. And overall, because I'm healing myself inside out, I'm healing my spirit, you know, my mind, my body, my energy, everything. I'm feeling more complete as a person, and that's all thanks to cannabis.
Weed definitely enhances the good times of everything, you know? Like when you are going somewhere like a concert or a picnic or camping and then you bring out the cannabis, it's just like, welcome to the world. Let's all have a good time, you know? Just it helps really enhance the good vibes for sure. There was one time during the fall camping in Joshua Tree, and I was with a 70-year-old physicist who was also camping in Joshua Tree with my group, and he had never tried cannabis before and then smoked a joint with us. And my friends and I had the joint, obviously, and then we gave it to this guy named Gene, and he had it. And then the way that he was experiencing everything in Joshua Tree, from the actual Joshuas to the sunset to even the wind, was pretty magical. He was giving like human characteristics to the wind and talking about the sky in super philosophical terms, which really enhanced the experience for all of us. I use it for stress relief, I use it for anxiety relief. CBD is my favorite, but CBD also helps with concentration for me. It helps organize the really fast scattered thoughts that go through my brain, which all day, every day. Sometimes it's like a jumbled mess up here, and then I consume some CBD and it kind of slows everything down and it organizes the thoughts from point A to point C, you know, and the way that I need to go. And so I guess I use it medicinally in that way. I use it for wellness in that way. I use it for structure. I use it for responsibility. It helps with the creativity as well. So I use it professionally, if that's even a thing. It helps keep me motivated. Like around 2 p.m. when I get that slump that most people get after lunch, if I take a couple hits of a sativa and have maybe some tea, I am back at it and on fire sometimes. And it's like my best work comes sometimes after that, because I'm awake, I'm alert, I'm going, and very creative, thinking sometimes too outside the box, but thinking outside the box nonetheless. I use cannabis to meditate as well. So I've had transformative breakthroughs, and I would say that at this point in my life, I've been going through numerous transitions, and it's just been a very transformational time in my life, and cannabis has been there for me through it all. It all started with cannabis. You know, my time I first started smoking cannabis when I was like consistently, probably when I was about 19 or 20. And since then, the way that I've evolved has been exponentially and very conscious. Before then, I was definitely a lot more uptight. I would be upset easily or kind of shook or rocked a little bit more frequently, harder to kind of bounce back. But cannabis now kind of makes it easier to go with the flow, and it has helped the way that my patients work. It's helped in terms of how I interact with others, my understanding, my compassion, my intuition. It's helped with all of that. And without cannabis, I would probably still be on the same path, but it would be much slower going and probably a lot more hurdles that I didn't understand.
I consume for both recreation and medical, and my family knows the difference too. You know, I reserve specific strains and products for Fridays and Saturdays. I'm not smoking moon rocks on Tuesday morning, as much as that would sound amazing, but not feasible with the lifestyle that I want to conduct. So I'll save those fun products. I call them like party favors. Those are my party favor products, and I use those for special occasions and treat that like I would a bottle of champagne. Since I don't really drink anymore, that's really my treat and my way to unwind. I feel like strains are specifically bred for medical and recreational. I noticed a huge trend in the high THCs that are being hybridized in order to create like an extreme high or whatever feeling that it is. And I know some people will assume that it's meant for medical reasons, but I know recreationally people enjoy it because you're getting more bang for your buck, I guess, in their eyes, you know? So it just depends on the person. I feel like just like others, people consume wine to relax, others consume it to forget things. It just depends on who's using it. You know, it really is. It's the intention behind it. It's not even about what the product is. It's about the intention that's put behind and what it's being used for. So, I mean, anything can be like some people use their weekends to eat recreationally. So it just depends on what everyone's lifestyle choices are. I feel that there is a difference with recreational and medical, just based on how we consume it. I actually have used cannabis for my spiritual awakening. Cannabis has led me to a spiritual awakening. In my process of discovering cannabis as medicine, I actually was able to reach into my inner self and find meditation and self-reflection and self-connection and self-advocacy through the plant. So I definitely feel like there is a huge connection right there between the plant itself and epiphanies and realizations. And if you're not finding yourself with this plant, you need to start. Really, I couldn't advocate for this more than combining consciousness and cannabis. It's such an enlightening experience and a life-changing experience and a huge component to my success, actually, whether it be weight loss and career. You have to keep the two together. My consumption has changed drastically since legalization because I don't feel like I would have used CBD so soon in my regimen if it wasn't for legalization. It kind of opened up the doors for more products, more conversations to be had about those products, and it's really opened up the doors for part of my self-care regimen as well. It was never part of my self-care routine, and now it's a huge component, if not the leader of my self-care. And I'm so grateful for legalization because of the fact that it's also opening up not only the opportunity for myself to medicate differently, but for others who maybe never saw medication in the form of a bath bomb or a form of a tincture. They actually get to know about products that are going to suit their lifestyle in addition to the ones that have already existed for a number of years. Also, luckily for myself being a daddy's girl, I always want to make my dad happy, and he's been a huge advocate. Not only have I successfully weaned myself off of prescription pills, but he actually totally changed his lifestyle and actually our relationship because of cannabis. We were estranged for a number of years because of his opiate abuse, and I didn't want to be around somebody that wasn't my father anymore. And he saw the dire need in his lifestyle change, and when he made that decision to try cannabis and make a lot of other changes along with it, because that's what happens, as I was saying earlier. Once you start with that plant, the subconscious opens up and you start to see more things. You start to see the bigger picture. You start to focus in on what you need to fix on yourself, you know, not in a negative way, but more like a, you know what, this needs a little bit more love and this needs a little bit more attention. So that's what he did. He saw it as this whole thing where I'm gonna change course, and he not only got his health back, but he got his family back as well. And I am just so grateful for his support and his love. And he actually watches my videos and comments on the photos and follows Instagram, and opened up an Instagram account so he could follow along. And I think that's just an awesome form of support, and I'm really grateful for him as well.
Aren't they incredible? I mean, these are the stories that just fill my energy buckets. I'll tell you, I came for the education. I'm staying for the people. We're going to lift each other up, and we're going to get to the bottom of all of this misinformation. We're going to cut through the noise. We're going to spark a fresh conversation. And I'm so looking forward to upcoming episodes where I'll be joined by amazing guests, experts, scientists, cultivators, cannabis visionaries, who will be here to help us grow our know. We'll look at relevant scientific studies, new research findings. We're going to do some myth busting, guys. We're going to debunk common misconceptions about cannabis in what I like to call nip it in the bud. We're going to have legal news and updates because that's important. And there's a lot of laws that, in my opinion, are one toke over the line. And one of my favorite segments that I'll be doing is I'm Not Making This Up in Legal Updates, which will be real laws that are unbelievable. And on some episodes, we'll have a product spotlight where we will showcase some of the most innovative emerging brands struggling to survive legalization. But keep at it, you're doing it right. Stay tuned, because when I come back, I'm going to give you a sneak peek on what to expect on next week's episode.
Join us on Know and Go as we explore top emerging hemp lifestyle products, providing the information you need to know before you go. And on Maria's Kitchen, educators, experts, brand innovators, and even chefs visit to discuss health and wellness topics and recipes while showcasing the top home goods, kitchen and dining, and flower accessories. Want to know how all these new products work and can enhance your lifestyle? Our hilarious cast of noble plant representatives answer a different question in each episode of Knowledge for Newbies about how all these different new products work and can help you to live your best life. On Green Eye for the Stoner Guy, experts debunk dated stoner stereotypes and myths while advocating to make the most innovative products and opportunities in the cannabis space accessible to everyone.
Cannabis is such an exciting topic. Everyone wants to know more, and it's important to have accurate information in this world of so much misinformation, even from our own industry.
Stay tuned. Watch GBL TV on greenbeelife.com.
Be sure to join us next week when our guest will be internationally recognized veterinarian Dr. Tim Hsu. Dr. Hsu is going to talk to us all about the intersection of cannabis and pets to help our fur babies thrive. Why don't you explain how cannabis works in animals and a little bit about the different formulations available?
Cannabinoids will interact with a number of different receptors that are all throughout the body, but they will also act with what's called the endocannabinoid system. And so the endocannabinoid system is a bodily system that is intertwined with all other aspects of our physiology and animals as well, because the endocannabinoid system is found throughout the animal kingdom. It exists in dogs, cats, horses, ferrets, pigs, birds, you name it. It doesn't exist in insects, but throughout the animal kingdom, especially all vertebrate animals, it's ubiquitously present. And this system consists of the cannabinoid receptors that cannabinoids bind to, the endocannabinoids that our own bodies produce. So you and I, your dog, we all produce our own cannabinoids within our body. And then the third component of the endocannabinoid system is the enzymes that make and break down these endocannabinoids. So what cannabinoids will do is they interact with this endocannabinoid system and the endocannabinoid receptors to create therapeutic functions and therapeutic benefits. It also interacts with other receptors that are not a part of the endocannabinoid system to help create these therapeutic benefits. So, CBD is really interesting because it's been listed to interact with over 40 different cellular targets. So not just ones within the endocannabinoid system. One example is that it has been shown to interact with the 5-HT1A receptors, which are serotonin receptors. And that's hypothesized is that that's one way it helps to decrease anxiety.
As we wrap up in today's episode, I just want to take a moment to reflect on the important insights we've discussed on the road to building cannabis consumer confidence, where knowledge is power. And by the way, consumer confidence, it doesn't have to apply just to cannabis, but it's especially needed in this new and emerging, burgeoning market. With the landscapes shifting so rapidly, especially, it's vital for both businesses and consumers to remain informed and engaged. We've explored how the lack of a federal cohesive regulatory framework leaves many brands uncertain about how to navigate messaging, often at the expense of consumer trust. How many times have I talked to people who say, I've tried CBD, it didn't do anything for me. Where'd you get your CBD? Oh, at the convenience store at the gas station? Okay, well, maybe. Don't do this, guys, to consumer trust. You have an opportunity now. We're on the cusp of legalization. This is why, though, knowledge is needed and it is powering. Empowering ourselves with reliable information is crucial in making informed decisions and advocating for your needs, our needs in this evolving market. For all of you, future, present, and past cannabis connoisseurs, I encourage you to ask questions. Seek out trusted resources and remember that your voice matters and it's important. It's not enough that, I heard they're going to legalize it. What does that mean? Demand transparency and accountability from the brands you choose to support, especially before regulated. Together, we can help shape a cannabis industry that prioritizes safety, efficacy, and informed choice. Hopefully, it'll bleed over to other industries, but cannabis offers us a precious, rare, unique opportunity. And for my cannabis business listeners, remember that while regulations are restrictive and gray, they also present a rare opportunity that other Fortune 500 companies take for granted for you to build genuine relationships with consumers by prioritizing transparency and information, accurate information, not marketing hype. You don't have to. Cat's out of the bag, genie's out of the bottle. Consumer demand is through the roof. You can foster trust and loyalty that will set you apart in this competitive landscape. Resist shortcuts and loopholes. I'm going to say it again. Resist shortcuts and loopholes. Not worth it. Okay, everyone, as we continue to set the cannabis record straight in an effort to understand how this multifaceted plant can truly indeed transform our wellness journey, I want to remind you that Just Say No is here to support you every step of the way, whether you're just starting your cannabis journey like me, or you're a seasoned enthusiast. This show is about providing you with the tools and knowledge to grow your node and navigate this space confidently and responsibly. I want to thank everyone for joining me today. Remember, our community is crucial as we strive for a more equitable and informed cannabis industry. Don't forget to tune in next week when I'll be discussing cannabis and pets with none other than Dr. Tim Hsu, who is the veterinarian and founder of Vet CBD, which was the product that I ultimately landed on and gave the most benefit to my little Juanita. Your feedback is invaluable, so please reach out with any questions or comments about today's episode or topics you'd like to hear about in the future. You can connect with me on social media or through our website. Thank you for joining me today. And remember, knowledge is power, and together we have an unprecedented opportunity to redefine cannabis one conversation at a time. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious, stay lit, and just say no. K-N-O-W, that is. Just Say No is a Green Bee Life presentation airing live weekly on Friday afternoons from 4 to 5 p.m. Pacific on KCA Radio and KCAA TV. Archived audio episodes are on Green Bee Life, greenbeelife.com, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and most third-party major platforms. For archived videos, check them out on GBL TV, on Green Bee Life, YouTube, and Rumble. To follow us, our Instagram and Facebook is at Just Say No Radio. To apply to be a guest on the show or for sponsorship and advertising opportunities, go to greenbeelife.com/Just Say No, and feel free to reach out to me, Maria, for any questions. I'm at maria@greenbeelife.com or call me at 818-758-6925.
So close, I want further in under your skin. Wanna leave a mark so that I can be sure that you remember what's been. I used to be satisfied, stayed over the surface. Now I just can't get enough. You make me feel good like no other. I just want everyone to see what I've discovered. And when I'm with you, I go higher. You lift me up, now I can see so much farther. You're my horizon. You're my horizon.
Looking for some easy-to-access knowledge bombs about cannabis? Quick Hits offers bite-sized yet potent insights into how cannabis can improve our daily lives and explores different aspects of this multifaceted plant. Join us and our favorite thought leaders, activists, educators, lawyers, regulators, cultivators, entrepreneurs, and many more as we discover the benefits and crush the stigma of this miracle plant together.
Quick Hits, now playing on GBL TV at greenbeelife.com.
At Green Bee Life, you can watch GBL TV.
And going up.
You can learn on Know and Go.
Did you know THC and CBD are just 2 of more than 100 cannabinoids?
And you can shop for carefully curated, high-quality products for a conscious lifestyle. We cover everything from pets to wellness, compliance, social equity, culinary arts, sustainability, and much, much more.
We really want to make this platform watch, learn, and shop so that your first time you have a place in the safety of your own home or watching on your phone where you can feel a little prepared and learn and then shop.
Green Bee Life, changing the way the world sees green.